Hi everyone. For today I want to show you how to make this thing. And you're probably wondering, what is this? Well, let me show you. So, here are pieces that we have cut out that we're going to use for, say, like for our quilt, right? We want to make a quilt block. So what you're going to do, and this here is flannel. So, we're going to build our quilt on this material here. I'm just using random pieces just so you guys can have an idea as to what I'm doing here. I just went and cut up some pieces just so you guys can see what I'm doing. So I'm building a quilt block. Alright. I mean, this isn't what my design would be, but you can do anything, really. Okay, so far this is what we've got. I'm just doing random. It's nothing, but I'm just trying to show you what this board is for and why it's really handy for you to use if you're anything like me. Very illiterate when it comes to even squares. And once I make something and I lose my design, then I'm screwed. So I like this. Really. Okay, where is the square part? Right here. Wow, that was difficult. Alright. So this is this design that we cut all our pieces for, right? And this is going to be our quilt block. Nothing special. Okay, let's do it this way. Let's not use any of these red. Let's just make it something special. Nope, that's the same one. Let's use this piece. Okay? So there. Now this looks like a quilt block, right? Actually, let's make this like that. So all the corners are the same. So we'll flip this way. I'm just playing. Okay. So all of them, this is our pretend quilt block that we're making. So, see this? Look, once you put it on this board, it doesn't fall off. And I'm standing this up. So, the idea of making this board is to pile all your pieces. So, this is like your layout. And one good thing about this is you can, where is it? Where are your pins? You can use your pins. So, like, say you have... You're making, say you're going to make 15 quilt blocks, all right, or 20. You just stack all your pieces in order like this and continue to stack them. So you want 15 layers or 20 layers or whatever. Then you take a pin and you could poke a pin in there and hold all your pieces while you're sewing them together. And when we get into sewing, I'm going to show you how to chain sew. So it's really nice to have your board organized like this. And this is the most awesomest thing you could use for quilting. So let me show you how to make this. Very cheap and very inexpensive. Now, this is what you're going to use, a hunk of cardboard. So I cut this out of a box, and it was actually a very sturdy box. You can't bend this. This one here, I had to put 2 layers of cardboard in here because it was too flimsy. So you want it good and stiff. So this is kind of cut crooked, so I'm just going to show you how to cut. You don't have to cut it any specific size, but if you want to make like a 15-inch square, you want to cut this at least, you know, This one is 16 by 18. So it's nothing fancy, but it's really crooked on this side. So I'm just going to square this up, and I'm going to show you how to do that with a ruler. All right, we're going to get in here, and I'm going to kind of square it up. I'm not going to use my good rotary cutter on this. I'm going to use my actual, my junky one that I don't care that I dull the blade on it, because it actually is pretty dull. So don't ever use your rotary cutter to cut paper, okay? Because you'll just ruin it. So I'm going to take a piece off. Hopefully this will cut. This is very, very strong cardboard. And I'm just going to press it hard. Very hard. I'm trying to get it through. There we go. Okay, so that side's done. I'll just throw that in our garbage. Now, this one needs to be trimmed. As you can see, I got a really crooked here, so I'm going to straighten this off. Sort of. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's just a square for you to work on. That's all it is. There we go. And now we got that done. Okay, so now we have our piece of square cardboard. And what you need to do now is, if your cardboard has printing, like a shiny thing on the back here, don't use that for the top. Use this part for the top. Now on here, on this piece here, I used flannel. You don't have to use flannel. Don't use cotton, because if you use this kind of material, your pieces will just slide off of it, and then you'll have to pin them down. I pin them down just because I want to keep track of when I'm sewing them. I want to keep track of what what pieces I'm sewing together, so I don't get lost or messed up. So for this, I'm going to use some of my leftover warm and natural batting, and it's almost like a piece of, oh, this stuff is so warm and it's really nice. So I'm just going to take a piece of my batting, stretch it out like this, and I'm just going to cover up my board like so, enough to...
Looks like a condom.
Shut up. That's just my son being a moron. Okay, so we want to, you know, cover this up really, really good. So I'm going to move this down because this is way too long. And now I'm just going to cut my batting across here with my scissors. So that's good, probably good length. So I'm just going to cut across here with scissors, like that. It's probably a good idea not to use your rotary cutter on your batting. If you at all don't have to, don't do it. It just helps preserve the life of your blade if you're not cutting through batting. Now, so this is going to be our back piece, okay? And I'm making myself a brand new one, so I have a nice fresh one. You can actually double this if you want. You don't have to, but you can. So I'm going to use packing tape. And that's exactly what I used on this one, is just packing tape. So let me get this out of my way here. This leftover batting. Okay, and let me find the end of my packing tape. And I'm going to show you how to put this on nice and tight. So, just going to put on one piece here, hold that down, trim this, and put it nice and snug. Now, I like to secure it with another couple pieces of tape. Nothing, you know, it doesn't cost much for this dollar store. And I'm just going to put another one. And we're just going to secure that, like that. Okay, now you want to make sure that this is nice and tight. So I'm holding this end here, and I'm making sure that this is nice and tight. So there's no So my top end here doesn't have any puckers. And I'm probably going to put one more layer on top, just because it's going to be nice and thick. Okay, now, so let me just stick one piece of tape in the middle to where I know it's tight, like that. And I just do it in pieces, just so I can get it nice and tight, and then I'll run a long strip on it. Okay, like that. And I got the tape hanging out of my mouth, sorry. Okay, so I'm just putting on pieces, like so, like that. There. Now, oops, I dropped my tape. One sec. I probably lost the end of it. Of course I did, but I can see where it is. I think I can. Yep. And I'm going to stick another one on because that one wasn't quite long enough. Okay, now, and I'm going to put this one in the middle. So now we've got these ends to do, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a second layer on this after I'm finished this. Okay, so let's get our corners nice and squared. So all you're going to do is trim off this here right to your corner, like so. So when we fold this over, we want to have a nice clean corner. So we'll pull this one. Well, I'm just going to cut this off because we really don't need that. We don't need the extra bulk in here for this one. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to cut this all the way down. And these scissors I'm using are Fiskars. They're quite a few years old. And let's do the same thing on this side. I'm still working on the back of my cardboard. I don't even know what to call this. It's just like a flannel board. That's what I would call it, just a flannel board. And got that trimmed. Now we just need to trim one more. Okay, and cut this piece off. And there we go. So now we have this ready to turn in. So we're going to cut these on a diagonal. It'll make your corner really pretty. Not like we care about the corner, but I'm just going along and cutting these on a diagonal. And one more, like so. Okay, now we have our envelope ready to fold over. Nice and neat. Nothing fancy. Get our crusty old tape out and bring this down. And don't let your tape, you don't want it to go all the way around to the other side. So you just want to tape up your ends really, really well. It takes a lot of tape, but it's worth it. Okay. Now, do this again. And do this. Now we're ready to do where we want to, we want to stretch this out. We don't want any puckers or bumps or rolls or creases in it. So I've got it nice and tight. I'm going to pull it, hold it with my forearm, and I'm going to place a piece of tape right there. Again, making sure it's, you could always use flannel, like I said. You don't have to use, if you don't have this warm batting, this kind of stuff, don't use the other stuff that looks like fiberfill, because if you use that, your board will be a huge mess. You don't want that. Now, I've had no problem. I've had my flannel board for years. Never had to remake it. So, the tape has lasted for forever. If you go tape crazy like I just did. Now flip it over and look at nice smooth surface. So now our pieces will stick to this, and it makes it a lot easier when you're building your blocks and stacking them and bringing them over to your sewing machine. You just work off of your flannel board, if you want to call it that, and your material sticks to it. See, and I'm standing this up, so as you can see, it's not falling off. All right, so I just wanted to give you guys a quick show on how to make this really cool flannel board. Like I said, oh, and I want to show you how I keep it clean. Now you could use a lint brush, you can use those peel off ones that you roll on here like you do on your beading. I take a piece of tape, stick it on, rip it off, and all the stuff comes off. That's all I do. And I reuse it a couple of times until I can't stick on this tape anymore. And that's it. That's your flannel board. Okay? So get this ready for when we start quilting. You will have your own little flannel board. So I guess I'll see you guys soon on the very first real tutorial. Have a great day. Bye, everyone.